50 is facing some backlash apparently for saying that men who date transgender women are batiman. I mean, he's technically not incorrect.
And I don't attract gay men, and I'm not attracted to gay men. Like, it's just not a thing. This is why I don't really I don't go to gay clubs. I don't go to, gay things, because it's like the men that I attract are not there.
So Magic Johnson's son, I think it's EJ, right? Was in the news and said, I only date straight men. If a man is dating you, respectfully, they are not straight. Okay? They are not straight.
50 Cent is back in the spotlight again, and this time he's got something to say about Magic Johnson's child, EJ Johnson, and it's got people talking loud. This whole situation kicked off after EJ made some bold claims about their dating life, and let's just say not everyone is buying it. So here's what went down. EJ, who uses she/they pronouns, recently opened up and said they don't attract gay men at all. According to EJ, the men they deal with are 100% straight. Yeah, you heard that right. That statement alone had people pausing mid-scroll, trying to figure out what exactly was meant by that. Now, EJ has been very clear about how they identify. They've said they are not transgender and have no plans to medically transition. At the same time, EJ is known for presenting in a very feminine way, wearing glamorous outfits, makeup, and fully embracing a look that many people associate with femininity. And on top of that, EJ is completely comfortable being referred to with she pronouns. That's where things start to get confusing for a lot of people, because while EJ embraces that presentation and those pronouns, they also reject being called a woman. Instead, EJ says they are simply a gay man who attracts straight men. And that right there is what really set the internet off. People online started debating immediately. Some were trying to understand EJ's perspective, saying identity and attraction can be complex and not always fit into neat boxes. Others, though, were straight up questioning the logic, saying the explanation just doesn't add up. And of course, 50 Cent saw all of this and decided to jump in. You already know he wasn't going to stay quiet on something like this. According to 50, the situation is very simple. He basically said that if a man is attracted to EJ Johnson, then that man is not straight, no matter how you try to label it. In his view, it doesn't matter what EJ identifies as or what pronouns are being used. Attraction is attraction, and he's calling it exactly how he sees it. He didn't dress it up or soften it either. He kept it blunt, the way he always does, and that response instantly added even more heat to an already intense conversation. Now, the internet is completely split in half over this. On one side, you've got people calling 50 out, saying his take is outdated and dismissive of how people choose to define themselves and their relationships. They argue that identity is personal, and nobody else gets to decide what someone else's experience means. On the other side, there's a huge group of people agreeing with 50, saying what EJ described just doesn't make sense to them. They're looking at it in a more traditional way and saying labels like straight and gay have clear meanings, and you can't just bend them however you want. But things didn't stop there, because EJ also made another comment that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. During the conversation, EJ said that no woman alive looks better than them. Yeah, that line hit hard, and not in a good way. A lot of women online felt that comment crossed the line. They saw it as disrespectful and unnecessary, especially given everything else already being discussed. That statement alone brought even more criticism toward EJ, with people saying it came off as arrogant and dismissive. All of this originally came out during an interview with Carlos King, where EJ was opening up about their personal life and identity. In that same conversation, EJ also shared that they asked their parents, Magic Johnson and Cookie Johnson, to stop referring to them as he, man, or even son. Instead, they made it clear they wanted language used that better reflects how they see themselves. That part of the story added another layer to the conversation, because now people aren't just debating attraction, they're also talking about family dynamics, respect, and how language plays a role in identity. Some people praised EJ for being open and honest, saying it takes confidence to speak your truth, especially when you know the world is going to pick it apart. Others, though, feel like the messaging is all over the place and are struggling to understand where EJ is coming from. And through all of this, 50 Cent's comments are are still echoing across social media. Whether people agree with him or not, he definitely got everyone paying attention, and once again proved he knows exactly how to insert himself into a trending topic and make it even bigger. At the end of the day, this whole situation shows just how divided opinions are when it comes to identity, attraction, and labels. Some people want clear definitions, while others believe things aren't that simple anymore. But one thing is for sure, this conversation is not dying down anytime soon. Every new comment, every reaction, every repost just keeps it going stronger. And with personalities like EJ Johnson and 50 Cent involved, you already know it's gonna stay loud, messy, and impossible to ignore.
But even I told them on my birthday, in June, that I was like, we're not doing he, we're not doing man, we're not doing gay. Like, and it was very freeing. You know, even like son, I was like, you know, the world tried to give me that label, like Magic Johnson's son. And I was like, well, he's dead. And now there is Miss Thing. Like, we're not doing that either.
EJ went deeper into their explanation, trying to clear things up, but somehow it only made the conversation louder. They said people should refer to them using they or she pronouns, making it clear that's what feels right to them. But at the same time, EJ also stressed that they are not transitioning into a woman and have no plans to do so. And that right there is where a lot of people started getting confused again. Because for many folks watching this unfold, the mix of identities, labels, and presentation just wasn't lining up in a way they could easily understand. EJ presents in a very feminine way, embraces she pronouns, but still draws a firm line at being called a woman. And while some people respect that as a personal choice, others are looking at it sideways, trying to make sense of how all those pieces fit together. But then, EJ said something that really turned the volume all the way up. Something that didn't just confuse people, it straight up irritated them. EJ confidently said that every time they walk into a room, they look better than any woman in that space. Yeah, that line didn't just land quietly, it hit like a shockwave across social media. A lot of women immediately pushed back on that statement. For them, it wasn't just about confidence, it came off as disrespectful. People were saying there's a difference between hyping yourself up and putting others down, and they felt EJ crossed that line without hesitation. And the reactions? Oh, they came in fast. Some women were saying, hold on, how are you going to reject being called a woman, but then compare yourself to women and claim you outshine all of them? That contradiction had people talking nonstop. Others pointed out that confidence is one thing, but making blanket statements like that can feel dismissive, especially when you're talking about an entire group of people. It turned into a bigger conversation about respect, identity, and how words can hit differently depending on who's hearing them. At the same time, there were still supporters backing EJ up. They argued that EJ was just expressing confidence and self-love, and that people were taking the comment way too personally. In their eyes, EJ was simply owning their presence and speaking boldly, the same way celebrities often do. But even some people who support EJ admitted that the wording could have been better. Because saying you feel good about yourself is one thing, saying you look better than every woman in every room, that's a whole different level, and not everyone is going to receive that well. And just like that, the internet split again. One side calling it confidence, the other calling it arrogance. What really kept this topic trending, though, is how it connects back to everything else EJ has been saying. The pronouns, the identity, the attraction claims. All of it is now being looked at under a microscope. People aren't just reacting to one comment anymore. They're analyzing the whole picture. Some are asking deeper questions now, like, can you separate identity from presentation? Can someone reject a label but still move in a way that looks like that label to others? And when it comes to attraction, who really gets to define what straight or gay means in situations like this? And then there's the emotional side of it, because for some women, EJ's comment didn't just feel bold, it felt dismissive of their own beauty and presence. That's why the reaction was so strong. It wasn't just about logic, it was about how it made people feel. Meanwhile, others are saying this is exactly what happens when conversations about identity go public in a big way. Not everyone is going to agree, not everyone is going to understand, and once something is said out loud, especially something this bold, it's open to interpretation from every angle. And let's be real, statements like that don't just fade away. Once it hits social media, it takes on its own life. Clips get reposted, comments get dissected, and suddenly one sentence turns into a full-blown debate that reaches way beyond the original interview. What's also interesting is how this moment is shaping how people see EJ overall. For some, it adds to their image as someone who is confident, fearless, and unapologetic. For others, it raises questions about consistency and respect in how they speak about others. Either way, the spotlight is not moving anytime soon, because when you combine bold identity statements with even bolder confidence claims, it's guaranteed to keep people talking. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. Every post, every reaction, every debate is keeping this conversation alive. And that one statement about walking into a room and outshining every woman, yeah, that's the line people are not letting go of anytime soon.
When I was a kid and they were like, well, you can't wear skirts. And I was like, well, why not? It's like my inner being was like, there's nothing wrong with this, especially if I look cuter than any girl does. Like, what's the problem? Like, what's the issue? And that's exactly how I apply it to myself to these days in the way that I present, like in my, in my feminine regalia. I've always been a feminine being, and like that's just like how I best express myself. But I'm like, listen, I'm out all the time, and like I'm killing a dress and no one else is. Like the girls in the room are not doing it. Like they don't look cute. They're not dressed to any nines. So
But that wasn't even the end of it, not even close. EJ kept talking, and with every new detail, the situation just kept getting more intense. EJ went on to say something that really had people raising their eyebrows. They claimed they don't date gay men at all. Yeah, you heard that right. According to EJ, gay men are not who they're interested in, and that alone had people pausing like, wait, what? And it didn't stop there. EJ also said they don't even go to gay clubs. Now, that part really surprised a lot of people because most assumed that would naturally be part of their social scene. But EJ made it clear that's not where they spend their time. So, of course, the next question came up, if not gay spaces, then where exactly are they meeting people? EJ answered that too, and this is where things really started to get people talking. They said they go to straight rooms. Yeah, that's the phrase that caught everyone's attention. Now people online were like, what exactly does that mean? Are we talking regular clubs, private events, social circles, or just environments where most people identify as straight? The wording alone had people confused, curious, and debating all at once. During the conversation, Carlos King stepped in and tried to get some clarity. He asked about labels, probably knowing this whole situation was already sounding complicated. And EJ responded in a way that, on the surface, sounded pretty open-minded. EJ said they don't care what someone identifies as long as that person is happy being who they are. That part actually sounded simple and accepting, and for a moment it felt like things were leveling out. But then EJ added another detail that sent the conversation right back into chaos. They explained that the men they date are usually men who have spent most of their lives being involved with women before meeting EJ. And just like that, the internet lit up all over again. Because now people are trying to connect all the dots. On one hand, EJ says they don't care about labels. On the other, they're specifically describing a pattern in the type of men they date, men who have primarily been with women. That contrast had people talking heavy. Some were saying EJ is describing a very specific dynamic without wanting to put a label on it. Others were saying it sounds like EJ is redefining labels in a way that doesn't line up with how most people understand them. And then came the opinions, loud, divided, and non-stop. Some people defended EJ, saying attraction isn't always black and white. They argue that human relationships can be complicated, and just because someone has been with women doesn't automatically define every future connection they have. But others weren't convinced at all. They were pointing out that if a man is actively dating EJ, then calling that situation straight doesn't make sense to them, no matter what that person's past looks like. And let's be real, that's the part that keeps fueling this entire conversation. It's not just what EJ is saying, it's how it clashes with how many people already understand identity and attraction. Another thing people started bringing up is intention. Some are asking whether EJ is intentionally avoiding certain labels or if they genuinely see things in a completely different way. Because depending on how you look at it, those are two very different situations. There's also the social angle. By saying they don't go to gay clubs and instead spend time in straight rooms, some people feel like EJ is distancing themselves from traditional LGBTQ+ spaces. That raised questions too. Is it about preference, comfort, image, or something else entirely? Meanwhile, others are saying it's not that deep. They believe EJ is just moving how they want to move, dating who they want to date, and not feeling the need to explain every detail in a way that satisfies everyone else. But even with that perspective, people keep circling back to the same point. When you speak this openly and this boldly, people are going to react, and not quietly either. Social media has turned every sentence EJ said into a full breakdown. Clips are being replayed, quotes are being reposted, and everyone has their own interpretation of what it all means. Some are analyzing the psychology behind it, others are focusing on the cultural impact, and plenty of people are just watching it all unfold like it's the latest episode of a never-ending drama. And right in the middle of all this, the same question keeps popping up again and again. If labels don't matter, why do the details seem to point back to them every time? That's the tension that's keeping this conversation alive, because EJ is saying one thing, freedom from labels, openness, individuality, but the specifics of their dating life are making people feel like labels are still playing a role, whether intentionally or not. At the end of the day, this whole situation isn't slowing down anytime soon. Every new clip, every repost, every reaction just adds another layer to the discussion. And with statements like these, it's easy to see why. Because when you mix bold claims, unconventional perspectives, and a whole lot of confidence, you're guaranteed to keep people talking. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. The conversation is loud, messy, and still going strong. And EJ's comments about not dating gay men and finding partners in straight rooms are right at the center of it all.
I don't attract gay men, and I'm not attracted to gay men. But no, but to be honest, it's like that's why I don't go to gay clubs. I don't go to, gay things, because it's like the men that I attract are not there. I do that when I go to the straight rooms.
So, so has it always been that way for you in terms of when it comes to men? Has it always been what some people consider the straight guy always being the one that would approach you?
Or somebody who, has been intimate and dating, women for most of their life, or like up until then, for sure. Absolutely. It has always been that way, but now it's like even more so now that I definitely present in more of a feminine way, because also like it's like my energy is.
So let's really put all of this together, because the situation is layered and people are trying to make sense of it from every angle. EJ Johnson is saying they are not a he, but at the same time, they're also saying they are not a trans woman. On top of that, they prefer to date men who identify as straight, men who have mostly been with women before meeting them. And right there is where the confusion keeps stacking up. Now, before 50 Cent even stepped into the conversation, regular people on social media were already going in. And a lot of what they were saying wasn't complicated. It was what they saw as simple, straightforward logic. The main criticism kept coming back to one core idea. People were saying that if a man is intimate with EJ Johnson, then calling that man straight doesn't line up with how most people understand that label. For them, it's not about disrespect, it's about consistency in definitions. One person on X even said, so they attract men that are still in the closet or bisexual. Got it. And that comment alone picked up traction fast. Another person added, "Gay men are attracted to men who enjoy being men, whether they're masculine or not. Why would a gay man want to date a man who wants to be treated like a woman?" That perspective sparked even more debate because now people weren't just talking about labels, they were questioning compatibility and expectations too. Then came another opinion that pushed things even further. Someone said, "Chasers have the mental delusion that they are straight. Let them be delulu with the men who think they are women." That line right there had people arguing back and forth nonstop. Some agreed, others said it was disrespectful, and the comments section turned into a full-on battlefield. But beyond the jokes, memes, and heated takes, there was one contradiction that a lot of people couldn't ignore. EJ says they don't care about labels, but then clearly states they don't date gay men. And that made people pause. Because if labels truly don't matter, then why draw such a hard line at one specific label? That's the question people kept asking again and again. To them, it felt like labels do matter, just not the ones EJ doesn't want to be associated with. Another point people kept bringing up was about logic and consistency. EJ says, "I'm not a he," yet is specifically interested in men who are attracted to women. That made some people ask, if you're stepping outside of traditional categories, then why does it matter whether the men you date are straight or gay? Shouldn't it just be about connection, chemistry, and mutual understanding? That tension is what made the backlash grow louder and louder, and eventually it reached 50 Cent, who, as expected, did not hold back. 50 jumped in with a very direct take. He said, and quoting directly, "Wait, if you're in a relationship with a person born male, you're gay." Straight to the point, no filter. And when people pushed back on him, he didn't soften his stance at all. He doubled down and made his position even clearer. 50 said that if you're a man and you're with someone who was born male, then in his view, that makes you gay, no exceptions. That's how he sees it, and he wasn't interested in rewording it to make it more comfortable. At the same time, 50 also addressed the criticism coming his way. He said it stings when people accuse him of having something against the LGBTQ+ community. He even shared something personal, explaining that his own mother, who passed away when he was young, identified as queer and had a girlfriend around. For him, that was his way of saying his perspective isn't rooted in hate, but in how he understands things. And this is where everything circles right back to EJ Johnson. EJ was born male, has said they don't identify as a man, and has asked their parents not to use terms like son. But at the same time, EJ says they only date straight men. According to 50, that doesn't add up. In his eyes, it's impossible for a man to be 100% straight and still be in that situation. So when EJ says they only attract straight men, 50's position is that either the label is being misused or the situation is being misunderstood. Now, beyond the identity and attraction debate, there's another layer that people keep bringing up, and that's self-awareness. EJ has made it clear they don't want to be called a woman, even though they use she pronouns and present in a very feminine way, but then at the same time boldly claimed they look better than any woman in the room. And for a lot of people, that felt contradictory, because from their perspective, it sounds like rejecting the label while still comparing yourself directly to that same group. That's why some people reacted so strongly. They felt like it crossed into disrespect rather than just confidence. Others, though, see it differently. They think EJ is simply expressing themselves in a way that doesn't follow traditional rules, and that not everyone has to understand it for it to be valid. And then there's the lifestyle conversation that started creeping in too. People began pointing out EJ's background, growing up with wealth, fame, and access because of Magic Johnson's success. That brought in a whole different angle, with some saying EJ's perspective might be shaped by a life most people can't relate to. Meanwhile, others pushed back on that idea, saying someone's background doesn't cancel out their identity or their right to speak on their own experiences. Still, the comparison between 50 Cent and EJ Johnson kept popping up. 50 is known for building his career from the ground up, while EJ has grown up in a completely different environment. That contrast added even more intensity to how people viewed their opinions. At the end of the day, this whole situation is bigger than just one interview or one comment. It's about how people define identity, how they understand attraction, and how those definitions are changing or clashing in real time. And clearly, there's no single answer everyone agrees on. Some are riding with 50s logic, keeping things traditional and straightforward. Others are siding with EJ, saying identity and attraction don't have to fit into rigid categories. But one thing is clear, this conversation is not going anywhere soon. It's loud, it's messy, and it's pulling in opinions from every direction. So now it really comes down to perspective. Do you see this as a simple matter of definitions, or do you think it's a sign that those definitions are evolving? Either way, people are watching, reacting, and keeping this debate alive with every new take that drops.